Okay, you beautiful people, and here we are again, once again on the Scouser and the Scot. So let me introduce my big mate, who was in his intrepid travels, as you saw last week, at the Metal to the Masses in Liverpool, where he went solo, or solo, as we should say.
Hey,
Anyway, big man, how you doing?
I'm not bad, buddy. Thank you very much. Yeah, I am back. I'm back in old in the lovely studio where I'm normally sitting these days. Today we've got a very special guest who I've known for a while, and he's someone who I admire, to be honest, for multiple reasons. One, because I know how hard it is to put a festival on. Two, he's doing it for all the right reasons. So let me not waste any more time. Let me introduce you to a very good friend of mine, Alan. How the hell are you doing, buddy? And I hope you keep him well.
I love the intro. I always get a little bit embarrassed about it, but no, I'm doing very well, thank you, mate, and thank you for your kind words. But I'm all good here, all good.
That's good to hear. So obviously we're on the show and we've got to talk music,
Yep.
part and parcel of the parcel. Like so, for anyone who doesn't know you, do you want to give us a rundown of Savfest, mate, and where it all started?
100%. Yeah. It all came out of a position which nobody really wants to be in. So I used to do a radio show overnight, just before Christmas in 2012. Did the show, had a really successful 6 hours I used to do. I came home, just got to bed. So about 7 o'clock, I had a knock on the door. The police told me that my son had taken his own life, right? So he'd had mental health issues 3 days before Christmas. So massive shockwaves for everybody because although we knew he was ill, we didn't, obviously, nobody ever knows that their loved ones are going to take their own lives. And I made a commitment to start up a charity called Ian's Chain. So I said that at his funeral, actually. And I made sure that I said it in front of him because I wanted it to go ahead. And then one of the things which I used to love doing with Ian, and our last memory, our last gig, we went to see Kiss at the Forum because they did a Help for Heroes gig in front of 2,000 people. I suddenly thought, he loved his music, loved his metal. Why not put the two things together and do a little festival? So that's exactly what we did. So we started it in Leicester in a tiny little pub. Got some great bands, enjoyed it, and it's been going ever since. So I think we've done about 13 over here, and we did six in the States as well. So we did them in Philly. Every single solitary penny we earn out of that goes into running helplines, supporting people who might need some money to either escape domestic abuse or to put them on the right path for some other kind of help. So, it's a big passion of mine. I've been seeing bands since '79, so I put the two together, and now here we are. So gearing up for 2026. Will it be the last one? Who knows? But people are telling me it can't be. So that's basically a part of history. So we all come together. We try to pick bands who kind of get it, what we're on about. So there's no egos there. People don't mind where they play on the lineup. A lot of them will start talking about their own issues or people that they've lost, and they've never had that opportunity. So we had a band, I think it was for the Forsaken, last year he started talking about his own addiction issues and his suicidal ideology. But he'd been told at another festival he can't say that. Don't say it. We don't want you to mention suicide as if it's like this big stigma. And he did it, and everybody kind of stopped and just listened. And he felt really, he felt really good. So that's kind of what it's about. We got Pete Malley doing a little bit of a laugh and everything. We give away a couple of awards. Last year went to Kev Baker from Fireheart for what he does, and we just have a good time.
Now,
And,
I've
well, I would
been
say you're also one of the most busiest guys I've ever seen. Trying to get, I just watch you. I get dizzy watching what you're up to in social media, even. So
I'm
you're a very,
forever
very busy
myself.
guy.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
But one thing I would like to say at this juncture, I mean, since 2018, I've worked with a lot of bands, as people watch this should know. Um, and I think the vast majority of them have played Savfest at some point or other because
Mm,
they all totally believe in what you do and why you're doing it. And they've all
mm,
given their time, and you gave them. And I remember when when I did the Forge Ahead initiative, I think you had every one of those bands
I think we
play
did.
at the festivals through Tina when Tina was
Yeah,
alive, and she was
that's
a
right.
she was a huge yeah she was a huge supporter of Savfest. She loved everything you stood for, and I said before we came on that I was never really aware. I've been lucky in life that I've never really been aware of anybody with those sort of mental health issues. But since moving into the music industry, and I think personally it might be a creative thing. It's a
Yeah,
creative thing that people who are creatives, and maybe I've just never been very creative, luckily. But I see a lot of it, and so that's why it rings a truth to me.
mm,
Um, and when people come to me and they might start to, don't have a clue how to deal with it. I don't have a clue what to say because I can't understand it. So I'm
yeah.
always very wary of talking about it, Alan.
It. I mean, I think you're true. It's the same as you look on the TV. There are a lot of comics who have depression, and I think it's sometimes with bands is they get the euphoria of being on stage, and it's all that downtime. The studio time's good fun, getting on stage and meeting and greeting, but it's all the time in between when you're away. You're probably sleeping in crappy hotels a lot of the time, unless you get bigger. You're struggling. You've got to juggle everything. You've got your family life and it can creep up on you very, very quickly. And it's interesting what you say about not knowing what to say, because I mean, I do. I was up until 1 o'clock yesterday morning, did a 2 hour intervention yesterday with a young girl, and she's safe for now. And we've through Savill, through Ian's Chain Charity, we've saved 415 people's lives. Um, and some of those have been literally on top of buildings or something. But I have been trained to know what to say, and it doesn't faze me what people say. But all I would ask people listening is that if you are going to ask, or say for instance you say someone, "Are you doing all right?" and you just think, "Well, actually, I don't." They're not their normal self. You don't dismiss it. Have the courage to keep asking, and they can always, you can only get to a certain point, John, and then you've got to pass it on to somebody else, and that's where we come in. And people just say, "Can I pass this person on to you?" We even had the ambulance service the other week. Can we pass someone on to you? And then I do what I do. But it's tough, and every Savfest, and especially in the last 2 years. So when we've been at the Vic Bikers Pub in Colville, I have had a member of a band come up to me and say, "Can we have a chat?" And some of those are saying,
Yeah.
"I can't do this anymore." And we've done those interventions while other bands are going on, and that's the magical part in it, because I think people know that I don't judge and I don't care. Why if you want to take your own life, it doesn't matter why you want to take your own life to me. And there are some people who have told us some really quite harrowing stories of them getting in trouble with the police and stuff. But I'm a human being and I treat everybody the same. So, but it you know, but these type of podcasts are going to raise that awareness. So you're doing your part.
Ah, that's cool.
And what we will do is we'll put all the links down below. So if anyone is impacted by this, please reach out, because this is what we're here for.
Yeah,
It's such a key and heartfelt moment that you've got to reach out for support. Even if you know someone who's going through this, don't be
yeah.
afraid to reach out,
They,
because it's not.
they could do that, mate. Even if you think, "Can you ring my mate up?" I don't know what to say. I'll do it. Now, they're either going to tell me where to go or they're going to talk. And I've never had anybody tell me where to go. They've been dying for somebody to speak to them.
Yeah.
And they said, and they said, "Well, I kind of dropped a little bit at work and I've told them a little thing, but nobody cares. But I do care, And so please put them down there. Our lines are from 6 at night till 1 in the morning. Um, and I will always get back to anybody. We'll always do it, even if we're busy, even if it continues. I have to continue on, but they will always get that call, and I'll never let anybody down. So
I
thank you.
must admit that's right. I mean, I know that because there's been a few times, 2 or 3 times, when I've seen something on social media that was happening live, and I've basically messaged you and went, "Alan,
Yeah,
have you seen this, etc." And then you intervened.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because and that's something that I would like to say as well. So although I don't, I like to listen, but I'd be wary of giving advice because I don't know where I'm coming from with it.
mm,
But what I would say is that um, it's important too when you see these things is to get them is to reach out to somebody like Alan on their behalf, Because if you ask them, I'm guessing, Alan, most of them will say no. If I
Yeah,
was to say to
how
somebody,
you ask it, it's having the courage to say to someone, "Do you want to die?" And it's a really hard thing. So for you guys, if you haven't heard it, it makes you go cold down your back. And I ask it, but if somebody says yes, I don't panic. So what people say, oh, do you want to hurt yourself? Do you want to do something silly? Well, doing something silly to me is going supporting Arsenal Football Club wearing an almighty Chelsea shirt. You wouldn't do it. That's something silly. You're talking about life and death, but you've got to have that courage to be able to do it. And if you can't do that, or you just think, well, I just don't know what to say, pass it on to somebody who does know what to say, but you've done your part. That's the thing. I have had it where people say, oh my God, did I miss something? No, a lot of the time people don't miss anything because, people are quite euphoric, they're quite happy, but it's that change. It's any change for somebody, something's going on for them. And I always ask, and you've seen it on social media, I've seen it on social media. Somebody the other month said, oh, do you know anybody who could take my guinea pigs? And I thought, they're guinea pigs, they're life. And then we went and found them and they were saved. So, don't be afraid to say that you don't know. But I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to try and do some. We're thinking about doing a podcast ourselves, but maybe getting people just to give them some tips about this. So the more people who know and have got the courage to ask, the better. So I like what you said.
Can I ask?
I was once.
Sorry, John. Can I just, while we're talking about this, if you think you've got the skills to actually support your charity, how does someone reach out to you?
If they email us at hello, normal spelling, at ianschain.co.uk, I would dearly love to be able to hand over the reins sometimes and have a bit of time off. But I don't. I take that phone everywhere I go in the world, and everywhere I go, I take it. But if there's anybody who wants to be trained, and the training is not difficult, we will do the training. So we're using Pete Malley and his partner to do some filming. We're putting all that together because there's a new British standard. And then wherever people want the training, we'll go and do it. So we do it in schools, we can do it wherever, or we can do it individually, and then they can come on board. Because I want a legacy for when I can't no longer do it. And we thought that might have happened last year. So the more the merrier, and then we can disseminate calls. And sometimes you never know. Sometimes people don't want to speak to a male. That's when Wendy, my wife, gets involved. Or sometimes, it just needs to be somebody else. And who works for one person might not work for another. So, if anybody wants to come on board, we will give them all the training, all the TLC. We wouldn't just give them the phone and say, it's your turn. We'd be with them. And we'd practice until we get it right. But there's a difference between some of the listening characters out there who will just listen. I will challenge, I will give that advice. I will try and find people for them. So for later on today, for instance, after this, I've got to phone up the sister of the person who we saved yesterday to get them on board, to give them the support. So we go further than most, and I'm really proud of that. 400 odd people's lives is massive. And I don't want any plaudits. I'm not in for it for that. I'm just in it for the right reasons, really. And I still enjoy myself at Savfest. I still have a laugh. I still have a few beers because it's a time when I rightly feel proud of what we've done. And everybody who comes to Savfest is saving people's lives at the end of the day. And they all go away and they say, can we come back next year? And that's what it's about, and having fun as well. We don't want to make it morbid and sad. We want to have a bit of a laugh. We do have to listen to Pete Malley's poor jokes, but, somebody has to do it.
Yeah, it's a hard life, but and it's kind of like encouraging him along as well because he's at a funny age, And, the good news is, when they say that the ones that are most vulnerable sometimes are the class clowns. Well, the good news is that Pete's not that funny, so he didn't need to worry. I don't think.
Exactly what I'm actually funnier than him.
I've got to defend Pete here. Hang on a minute. He's one of the good guys. I laughed at one of his jokes. No, wait there a minute. Sorry, I got it wrong. It was Jimmy Carr I was laughing about.
Oh, my God. I've got chalk and cheese in it. I can't wait to tell Pete. I'm going to call him Pete Carr from now on. I might even put it on the T-shirt, But he's one of our patrons now. And he jumped at the chance of doing it, and because he really gets it. So we're very, very blessed to have people
I,
like him on board, But
I've
he's
got to
been
ask.
there.
I've got to ask because I've got a lot of time for Mr. Malley. You know what I mean? He's most probably one of the most loveliest guys you'll ever
Yeah,
meet. How the hell did you get him on board? Because he's another one who's busy. He's here. He's there.
he is, isn't he? I think he was at Breaking Bands, right, years ago, because I was on radio at the same time when Jason ran it, and I thought he was really funny then. I don't know if I think he's really funny now. I love you dearly. And then I just thought I was going to ask him, and as soon as he knew what it's about, because obviously he works with children and young people, he really got it.
Mm.
And then he came the first year, and I don't think he knew what to expect, and he was just blown away. And he was just blown away with people hugging each other and kind of chatting away and opening up and having fun. And let's be honest, we had to get some damn good bands on and all. So it's a win-win for him. And when we asked him, it took him about 5 seconds to say yes. And I think now he wants to kind of pare down a few of his gigs, but he'll always do ours. So we're really, really, we're so grateful.
He is, like I said, he is an absolute legend. And P, I
Mm,
know you'll be watching this. Go easy on me when I see you next.
yeah, Pete Carr.
I'm not worried, Pete, because I'd leather you. You try anything with me, I'll knock hell out of you. You know that West Coast,
Not
West
together,
Coast Scotland's a
just
lot
like,
tougher than East
it's off
Coast.
the old street.
No, we love him. I love Pete. I've had him host many of our shows. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
One of I was just thinking there when I said that I hadn't ever really come across it and dealt with it, but I just said that I had a flashback there, and it was a band that I worked with briefly, and they were raising funds for a PTSD
Yep.
charity with one of the songs or a couple of the songs they brought out. And I was in the meeting with one of the members. All the members of the band were on this Zoom meeting like this,
Hmm.
and the girl from PTSD, I think it was PTSD Scotland actually,
Yeah.
and they were talking away, and all of a sudden the person in the band that had the issue had the PTSD. That's the reason why they were doing it. Suddenly started opening up about why her particularly. And I just, like what you said there about you just go cold. I
Hmm.
sat there, a grown man, on a Zoom, and I had to turn away.
Yeah.
It was like ice. It was like ice water running down my spine. It was. I just didn't know what to say or do, and it was just unbelievable. It was chilling, And
Yeah.
she said it so matter of fact
Hmm.
that I was just like, oh my God, how do you survive that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Well, Pete, people don't really understand PTSD. They think it's only for the army. I got PTSD when I was in hospital. It came back after 32 years, and I didn't know whether or not I was going to get out of that hospital. And it was horrendous. It took me back to, if you remember, the Broadwater farm riots. I was a cop then, so I was in the next road to where Keith Banknott was murdered, and I was at the King's Cross fire and stuff. And so, why should a hospital environment take me right back? And I literally was it really damaged me. Um, but I opened up because I'm very lucky. But not everybody has got anybody to open up to. So when people open up, they're normally extraordinarily honest because they have been at that stage when people kind of thought it was a bit of, it was something you didn't talk about. And now they've got the courage to do it. And you'll find a lot of people who survive this will open up because we probably all know someone who's either attempted or wanted to take their own life. And sometimes it's people who you'd least expect. And so for them to kind of open up, it kind of breaks down those barriers. And I do it. I talk about a time when I ended up on the railway line about I don't know, when it was 7 years ago. And I still don't know how I got there to this day. I do it when I do my training. So I do a lot of training around the country in it. And you can just see people's mouths sort of aghast. So it comes out of the really odd times, but they must have felt very safe to say it in front of you, which means that you must
Mm.
have created that safe space. So well done you again, mate.
No, no, cheers. The thing was, is the first, I think when I first started talking to the band,
Mm.
and the person himself used to sort of like just flit in and out of the picture of the
Hmm.
Zoom camera. So I was talking to our partner all the time, and and I never thought anything of it. I just thought she was really shy. But then she kind of eventually built up that little bit of trust with me. Well, I like to think she did. But when she
Yeah,
said that in front of me, like, I think the others in the band always all knew the story, but whether she forgot I was there, but I was. And the girl, that the woman for PTSD was just brilliant. She just took it in her stride. And I
yeah,
was like, but honest to God, it was chilling. You know, like I just stood there and went, or sat there
yeah,
like that. But I'll tell you one thing that I do love about Savfest as well, though, the fact that music is a healer, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, that music's a big healer. And I mean, this is mainly a music podcast, and I think
Mm,
that's a big thing. And like you said there about Pete loving the fact that everybody hugs each other, and it's a different vibe to probably a lot of other festivals just because of
yeah.
why it exists.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting what you say about music. Is sometimes, I think we listen to songs, but we don't really listen to them, or how someone portrays their own struggles might not be as black and white as you think. And so when
Mm,
they start talking about it, and then you can see people really listening to the words. And I saw it last year. Somebody then googling the words and were like, "Oh my God, I really get it." Um, and I think that's the whole point of it, really. We pick back. We're so lucky. We got like 230 bands who wanted to play this year. They all came in about 2 days. It was crazy, crazy. And I wanted to. If I wasn't poorly, we were going to go and do one in Manchester, one up in Scotland, one over in Wales, and one down south. But I just can't do it this year. Um, because so many really good bands wanted to do it. But what they actually do is they not only just say, "Oh, can we play?" And we've all had that. There's generic things, a little pack of say PK pack, whatever they call it. But a lot of people saying the reason why we want to play is because this person, I lost this person, I lost that person, and I really can I talk can I talk to the audience about my story, or I just want to help. And then and that's the magical part of it, really. And I know this is all about music, and it was a big part. It's always been a big part of my life, or it was a big part of Ian's life. But then when I look at it, he was listening to like Slipknot, a lot of quite heavy bands which talk about mental health. And at that stage, I didn't really realise myself, to be honest.
mm.
Put my hands up. But I think that so we do go down the route of who are the people who really get it. And really want to make a difference. And so hence the reason why all our shirts, we got rock music saving lives, because we come together and that's what we do, you know.
And I think that's a valid point. I think everyone understands music. You don't have to explain it. Whatever mood you're in,
Mm,
you can listen to something mellow when you're feeling a bit down. If you're feeling like you're in the gym, you listen to something upbeat. It's a crazy healer. It's amazing.
yes,
It's a unique. It's it's a very special thing that I think
yeah,
anyone who even attempts to write music or play music, it's one of the being lucky enough to be on stage and have people sing words back at you is
oh yeah,
it's one of the most emotional feelings that I've ever experienced in my life because it's hitting home with people. And
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
it's
uh,
it's an awesome feeling. But
yeah,
I always think what a feeling it must be for that person to have actually feel those words.
yeah.
I think
And
that's
you never know whether or not they go back and play that again, and that's their go-to song. And that's sort of the beauty of it. I say that to bands. They say, "Well, I don't know if people are really listening. I don't know what they're going to do with it and all that." I said, "Well, you never know. You never know. Talk about it, and somebody will be googling it or put it on their Spotify or whatever they want to do." And I've got that. I've got music which I play, which when I feel a little bit down, which is quite a lot, sadly. But I also have some euphoric stuff. But I think you can always remember your first gig. You can always remember the first time you went to a festival. Always remember that all those big things. And I actually can put music to events quite quickly. I remember what was on the
Mm.
radio when that was happening, but it can work both ways as well. Because there's a lot of people will get triggered by music they hear because it takes them to a place which they don't want to remember, and that's the power of music. And when you see like some of these places in the world, I'm not a political person, where they ban music because music makes people free, and they don't want it. and it's the power of it. And long may it continue. You know, I would be lost without music. I could turn the telly off, but I wouldn't be able to be without my hi-fi.
So
It's funny because it's like I mean I'm an upbeat person anyway, but a couple of times in the last couple of weeks I've gone into work and I've maybe been a bit tired first thing in the morning, and you go in and there was twice where I was just buzzing, and I worked it out. It was because I'd walked in twice out of the 3 or 4 days. The same song was on the
Wow.
playing over the system as I came in, and it was the Killers, Bright Lights, and it's just an
Yeah,
upbeat song, and I fucking
yeah,
loved
yeah.
it. So now what I do is, just as I drive down the road towards work, I put it on Spotify every morning if I can listen to
Oh,
it,
okay.
because
Yeah.
I go about I literally go bouncing in, and then at the weekend before I go to bed I always listen to I go into YouTube and I go Run Rig Book of Old and Glory. That's my before I go to bed song.
So the Scots will be crying in their McEwen's lager when they think about Run Rig because they went, didn't
Oh,
they? But
yeah.
they were really I thought they were quite uplifting, really. That kind of Celtic music's quite cool, I think.
Yeah, they were brilliant. I mean, I saw them with this. They were main support to U2 when they played Murrayfield in about 1987, something like that. And they were brilliant. But as I say, yeah, I think they've packed in. The last gig was 2018, I think it was. But
Yeah.
having said that, there's a tribute band going around making a fortune out of
No,
it.
they're the only ones who are making a fortune about anything really at the moment, really. Which is, but that's one thing we've never done. We have never had. Have we had a covers band at Savfest? I think we've had a few covers. Last year I asked them. You probably know Bang Bang Firecracker. I asked them. I dived on and I said, "Can you do an?" It was just I think just after Ozzy had died, and they just went straight into it, and it was amazing, really. But we try to have original bands, but sometimes they put a few covers in if they mean something to everybody
Yeah.
there. So yeah, I can't wait till this year's. Every year, I think it's getting better and better, and we're trying to make it a bit of light and shade as well. So we've got a bit of acoustic stuff in there. And I tell you what, we have got, and I don't know which. We went down to went into London this week, and the Soul Revival, who have done so much for us. You know, last year the guys are going from strength to strength, ran up Snowdon for us and doing all this amazing stuff. They played the Gibson Garage, which is the big guitar place, and they had three young guitarists come on. There was a
Oh
girl,
yeah.
remember her name from. She is from Turkey. I will tell you now that she played Hey Joe, and I have never ever seen a better female guitarist in the world at the moment. She is 17 years old. It was the most astonishing thing. And we're talking about music making emotions. It made me cry. It was, I love seeing younger people because obviously Ian died when he was 23, right? And she was amazing. And she'd only jammed this with Soul Revival once. And then I don't know if you remember, I don't really normally watch this because I can't stand Simon Cowell. But on that Britain's Got Talent, there was a little lad who was into his heavy rock music.
Oh, for North Wales. Yeah.
Yeah, the little bloke, yeah, it was amazing, right? Oh, he's playing Savfest now. He's going to be
Is
on
it?
with Soul Revival because he did a ZZ Top thing and he went into this massive solo. And the other one was the other girl did When My Guitar Gently Weeps, right? Which is a beautiful song. And she was stunning. This little 14-year-old, very quiet girl. And she's playing as well. So if we can get the girl from Turkey over, and I'm seriously considering, trying to get some cheap flights, because I guarantee you will never see a better guitarist in your life. It was that good. The 17th.
Listen,
It's not fair. It
I,
was
wa-
just,
yeah, it's amazing when you see that. You see it a lot in TikTok and places like that now, some of these young kids. And I
yeah.
mean, listen, I'll tell you what, Alan, she's not the first one that's made somebody cry playing Hey
No.
Joe. I did once. We were playing a biker's place, and we were a kind of alt. This was in the late 80s, and we were a kind of, let's say, what would be known as indie rock now. And we decided that they asked us to do a couple of covers. Well, we never normally did covers.
Mm.
And I and my bear in mind it's all bikers, decided we'd do Hey Joe. So
Yeah.
we started doing Hey Joe. And then in the middle section, we did a reggae version. Oh my God, you've never seen men want to kill me so much in your life because we
Really?
went Jimi Hendrix into reggae. They didn't love it at all. I was lucky to get out alive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, we had a reggae band actually when we did Savfest in Corby over 2 days. So we had people like Dan Reed and stuff play, and we had this reggae band. They came in. I just said to this guy, who was a white guy actually, did percussion. He brought out these really weird percussion instruments, and I said to him, "Oh, how long have you been doing this?" He said, "About 30 odd years, getting on this stuff." I said, "Who have you played with?" He said, "Oh, the Wailers." I was like, "Wow, Peter Tosh." And that's how high he was. But he got everybody up dancing. I think that's quite good because I remember, right, going off piece, but who cares? I remember when Big Country came on at the last minute at Reading Festival. And that was at Reading Festival when you had 2 stages. And if people didn't like you, well, you'd probably get covered in whatever they've just been drinking, right? And everybody loved it, absolutely loved it, because they went in there and they had that right attitude on that. And I remember that. And God bless Stuart Adamson. I thought they were amazing. And they really thought, right, we're going to go and sling this to these guys. And I think it made them really think, So, yeah, that was a bit brave, wasn't it? But a bit funny.
So, normally I have a few random questions for you, also. Apologies about these, but
it doesn't mean it won't apologise. You just bullshit.
No, don't apologise. Make it as hard as you like, random as you like.
Don't tempt me, mate. Seriously, I've had the amount of people who've called me a lot of things off the back of these. However, I'll save that one till just a little bit later.
Okay.
So, tell us a story about Savfest without naming anyone or bands, which has made you laugh your head off that you can't believe has happened. And we have had people on from festivals and stuff like that who've come up with some corkers. So.
No, laughing your head off, because that's
all you can't believe has happened at your festival.
I think the thing which I can remember, because it's a bit of a cosmopolitan. It's not only a rock crowd. People come from everywhere. And I remember a few years ago, Ward 16 putting on the full act in this little in the Vic. Now, for people who don't know the Vic, right, the Vic's got 2 stages. The one outside is like a barn, and he's got like motorbikes hanging down from the ceiling and everything. It's a bit weird and wacky, and we shove in a massive PA and everything and decent sound because people deserve it. Now, if you've seen Ward 16, you come out with their big paper mache women and all that stuff like that. And it's only a low ceiling, and that thing's 8 foot high. And I could see when he was coming through, people couldn't know what was happening. People didn't know whether or not to be frightened or not. And this poor, it's the nan in it. It's the mum in it, the bad mum, who was drinking all the time. Her head got stuck, and it started to come off. And I'm thinking, oh my God! First of all, I was thinking, please don't pull this thing down. It could be like a spinal tap moment, but they managed to turn it around. But I remember people just not knowing what they were seeing. And by the end of it, we had people there who've never even been to a rock gig, thought it was the best thing ever. But to see, I turned, everyone else turned around, and we could see that big mum's head leaving that body. And I thought, we never get it down here, And but I mean, we have some funny things. We have some funny bits and pieces all the time. But I'm normally so busy, I see little bits of bands. I can't remember anything else. But we do have some funny times, apart from when Pete's on.
Yeah, well, obviously, that's a given. You know why? But you know why people invite Pete twice to the same thing? To apologise for the first time.
Seriously, Pete, if you're watching this is not me, mate.
No, man, no.
However, he's paying me and Alan for doing it.
Yeah,
it's costing me a fortune, but yeah, fair play.
Yeah. We've had some really good, interesting things, and things which have not taken people's breath away. But last year, we had the Tina stage. So, the beloved Tina, we got a lovely picture of it, and we unveiled that, and people and her family were there as well. So they're going to remember it for something completely different. But yeah, we have had some good laughs, and it always seems to get funnier the more tired I get and the more I've had to drink.
It's not a bad thing, mate. It's not a bad thing.
Come on, Al, tell us. tell us about the bands who you've got on this year. Then
What,
what are
this
we
year?
expecting to see?
Okay, we might have what we changed it around a little bit. We're waiting to hear about one band. It's all to do with logistics and all that. But so we're on the Friday and the Saturday as normal. Friday the 14th of August, I think it is. Let's just see what we've got here. We got Waking the Angels from up your way because he totally gets it. They want to do it. We've got Head Creep, so that's good. Fanslinger, who are doing big things. Prometheum, who couldn't. I think their guitarist forgot that he was doing it last year. Circus 66 have done it a few times. The Almighty Not Now Norman, who are brilliant. Roxy and the Lockharts, a little bit of we all like a bit of spandex. Pylon Poets are a little bit different. Fourth Labyrinth, who don't hardly do anything anymore, and Marcel and Claudia are just amazing. Matthew James Kennedy for a little bit more of a sort of Celtic-y found. Aonia, who do that sort of kind of like operatic stuff, and everyone thought I was mad putting them on, but they blow me away. Then we've got coming from LA, right? They just played the Viper Rooms last week. Is Illusions of Grandeur. Now I put them on the radio first time anybody in the world put them on the radio. They played Savfest America, and then they're coming over here just for us, right? And they're amazing. Now they've got an amazing front lady who is an LA fitness guru. So you can tell Maggie's a bit crazy, but she comes with this amazing makeup, will walk through the crowd, and they will blow everybody away. And then we've got Lead Feather, who, you know, I love that sort of bluesy rock music. So that's just the first day, right? And then the second day, we've got a young lad doing some Blue Nation stuff. He's autistic. He's never played in front of anyone before, but Blue Nation said he'd love to play. So he's doing a few minutes. We've got Soul Weaver, Big Tall Shadows, Bang Bang Firecracker, who are going to do half a Motörhead set just for me. We've got our amazing Carrie Ann Rogers, who put one of my poems actually to music last year. She does some acoustic. Deadfire, Juice Culpa, who are from Greece or Italy or somewhere like that. Who else is on there? Pyroclast, Pinstripe are back in, The House We Built, Old Glory in the Riviera, Grey Fox Conspiracy, and then my man James Kennedy, who's come in. But then we've got Harsh coming over from Paris, and then we've got the Soul Revival, and we might have another band as well. So I think how many is that? 30 bands, and it's £41.
Can't argue with that, can you?
And you know, we've got a massive PA, as everybody knows. You know what it's like with a pub PA. A lot of the time, tiny little PA. Everything has to be turned up to 12. Distortion. They don't mic the drums, etc., etc. Well, we've got 2 techs, 2 stages, an hour for bands to have proper run throughs. The biggest PA last year, all the bottles started falling off the shelves, but it's crystal clear stuff. So the bands love it for that reason, because they say, God, we've never had a great sound like that, you know. And so it's really exciting. And I would love some of your listeners to come. I would love them to come down here, and we can do a special price for them, because we just want people in. And even if we do a special price, Wendy will get them for the t-shirts anyway, so we get their money off them. So exciting, mate. If you know anybody want to come down, if you guys want to come down, interview people, do whatever you want to, it's free for, you know. If you guys, you're more than welcome.
Well, I'll be down there anyway on the Friday.
Superb.
So
he'll be with his head creepers.
Yes, he will. His head creep gang.
yeah,
We're very excited about it all, actually. Really, really great. And we're so grateful for everybody again. So thank you, bands. All your stuff's coming out this week. Apologies that I haven't sent it out, but because of my short-term memory stuff and everything, it's been a bit of a struggle. But we will get it down there. I'm looking forward to hearing you guys as well. It's so exciting, really exciting.
which leads me on to my next question, which normally winds people up.
Go on.
Winner stays on. Now, I know you're into your rock. I know you like a little bit of metal as well.
Yep.
So I'm going to throw a few names at you. You have to pick who stays on, who's the better of the two.
Okay.
So we'll start with the first one. I'll give you 2. Cream versus Hendrix.
Wow.
Oh, that's polite. Normally it gets motherfucker. That's what they normally say.
No, I haven't finished yet, John. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Hendrix, I think.
Hendrix.
Hmm.
Hendrix or Zeppelin?
Hendrix.
Hendrix or Aerosmith?
Hendrix.
Okay.
Hendrix or Thin Lizzy.
Hendrix or Thin Lizzy? Thin Lizzy.
Ah, I knew I could win it.
Okay, we did. Thin Lizzy or Ozzy? Now you can. Now I can sense it coming out. Don't let it go off your tongue, mate.
I
Just call me whatever you want.
think Ozzy.
Ozzy,
Yeah.
Ozzy or Kiss?
Kiss.
Yay.
Kiss or Metallica?
Wow. Wow.
Come on,
Very
you
polite,
can.
isn't
You can
Kiss,
call
Kiss.
me.
I would say Kiss in their prime days.
he? Yeah.
Is there any band that I missed that you think could have been taken it off Kiss?
Take what? Who would have won?
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen all the way. My absolute hero. And it was a song, a Bruce Springsteen song snapped me out of it when I was on that railway. And I still don't know how I got there. So I see you in my dreams. I've seen Springsteen about 30 odd times. It means so much. It means so much to me because I love his words and I love him. But I'm very lucky because obviously I know the guys in Maiden. Maiden are fantastic live as well. And I'm really proud to know Nico for so many years, 30 odd years as a close friend. But I'm looking forward to seeing Metallica this year, and we're going to both days at Wembley. I think that'll be really special, and I think they get slagged off a little bit, maybe because they're so big, but you know that you're going to go away feeling really good. Really,
Anybody that slags them off, anybody that slags Metallica off, don't know anything about music,
of course
in
they
my
don't.
opinion. They
I
don't.
know.
The bloody idiots. And a lot of it was to do with that. Was it Napster stuff? And they don't like the drummer because he actually stood up for it. He could see what was going to happen,
Yeah, he
and
did.
actually stood up against it. And that was the thing that takes a
Don't
lot of it. And
don't
they're,
you
they're
find
one of the best metal bands ever.
they
Yeah,
are, mate? But don't you find that the reason why we're talking about it like this now is because social media has its pros, but it also has its very negative cons.
yep. I
Apart
completely.
from it is, of course.
They slag Lars Ulrich off. Says he's not a great drummer. Well, he's a lot better than I am, and I don't really give a toss because he's great for that band. And yeah, because he's a businessman as well. Why can't he make money out of it? It's typical of this country. A lot of time we try to pull people's legs away because they do so damn well.
Yeah.
But if they make people happy, who am I? I wouldn't care less. If somebody said to me, "Oh, I'm going to go to Harry Styles." If that's what you want to do, and it takes you out of your normal dreary day, go and do it. I don't really care, really, because I'm open to anything. I've been to so many things. The only thing I've walked out of, I went to see Dave Sylvian. He used to be in Japan. It was so far up his own arse, it's pathetic. And he just came out with an Apple Mac thing, and I was thinking, you're taking the piss out of us here. So I walked out, and I flounced out of the middle of my row and everything, and then I never went back. And Mike Oldfield, that was like horrendous for me, but I was open to it. So I've got so much. I've got Jethro. We're going to see Jethro Tull. Still, I've never seen him. I thought, well, I might as well go and see him. I don't know who else. I'm a big Meatloaf fan. I love Meatloaf, and it
Oh,
means
brilliant! Yeah, Meatloaf was
and he's just
amazing live.
awesome, and he was great live. So I used to look forward to my gigs because, for me, it was Hammersmith Odeon was kind of my little church when I was 15. I was going up into London on the train from where I lived, and I loved it. So it's always hard, those lists, man. It's always hard. But everyone on that list was good, to be fair.
So,
and that with me, it was the Apollo in Glasgow. For you, it was for me, it was the Apollo in Glasgow.
Yeah.
And the first band I ever went to see was Thin Lizzy doing the Live and Dangerous tour. So can you imagine? So they played the album basically, and it
Yeah.
was just. I remember Phil Lynott coming out and he was wearing the Scotland '78 World Cup top. 'Cause it was
Right,
at
yeah.
that time. It was June. It was June, and he came out wearing that with his leather pants. Oh, what a star he was! Absolutely amazing.
No, I can imagine. I mean, I was quite blessed as well. I went to see Whitesnake with Marseille, and then and so that was on the Love Hunter tour, and then the
Yeah,
next
I saw
one
that too.
that was brilliant, and they were right at the top of the game there. And then
I
I
thought
went,
that was them at their best, mate. I thought
oh
that
yeah,
was.
it
I
was
mean, I
them.
loved 1987, the more hair metal. I did love it, but it was
Yeah,
nothing beat that. And then
no.
Live in the Heart of the City. Wow.
Well, you know what, right? If we're going right off piece, but if you get the actual album actually on vinyl, there is a part where some gobby person shouts out something. That was me, right? But now it's on CD because I had to make it shorter. I was cut off it, right? So I was on that. And my second one, I went to Motorhead with Saxon, and it was
Ah,
all
yeah, I
full
saw that.
front, right? So it was all full of angels. And poor old Biff came on with his silver trousers. And you could just tell this angel thought, I'm going to kill you, mate, in a minute. And he put his hand down, like to shake hands. And the bloke just wouldn't let go of poor old Biff's hand. He couldn't. He was like this. And yeah, and then, I just went to everything. I went to first Monsters of Rock or whatever it was. And Reading Festival was just up the road from me. It's that first year of Rainbow and everything. I remember it getting to the front. Um, and I loved it. Big festivals are getting a bit too big for me now. I just pulled out. I was going to go to Rebellion this year, but I realised I'm not well enough to do it. So I'm just going to get rid of my ticket. But I can remember all those days, and I can remember when I was little, and all these people could have me denim jacket and all that. And then my mum sewed a Van Halen thing on it, which was just awesome. And I was really proud of it. And we kind of stood out a little bit when we were 14 or 15, a little bit. But we were still welcomed, and that's the good thing about it. I still think, rock music, predominantly most of the time, you don't get any hassle, and everyone looks
No.
after each other, and especially at metal gigs, they look after each other. And even now, it gets crazy with their mosh pits and stuff. That's too much for me now. But they do look after each other, and I think that we get a bit of a bad rockers get a bit of a bad press, But I think it's probably the biggest family and the most supportive people you can get, and I'm really pleased that I've had that opportunity to have so many years of gigs. Really, really pleased.
Do you know what? I think that's an absolute perfect way to end it. To be honest, I think I couldn't agree with you more, mate. It is a family, and this is why we do it, and we do it for the
Yep,
right reasons, and we look after each other. And
we do.
he, like you
And so I
said,
want to look after your viewers, mate, or your listeners, I suppose. So it's hello@ianschain.co.uk. So it's HELL at ianschain.co.uk. Send a message in there, and these tickets for the weekend will be £35 with no booking fee, right? So you're going to save yourself some money, and we would love some people to come down and just to come and say hello. And also, they can email us if they want to help with the charity. And if they go on all the three W's, ianschain.co.uk, there are numbers there. And if anyone's in crisis, please, please, please don't suffer alone. And you probably speak to me or Wendy, and I will help you as much as I can do. So thank you so much for chatting today. You didn't even give me very hard questions. I thought it might be worse. And I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. But thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about what we do, mate.
it's a pleasure, mate. Seriously, and I think
Thank you.
what I will do is I will put all the links down below to Ian's chain and
Mm-hmm.
support it as much as you can because it is important to talk.
Yeah.
I think, like I say, Al, Wendy, you're doing an amazing job. I know
Thank
you're
you.
not doing it for plaudits, but someone needs to say thank you as well.
Thank you.
And we mean it from the bottom of our hearts, mate, because
I
what
know.
you're doing is priceless. So
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me on. And, don't be strangers. Anytime you want to chat, please do.
keep on rocking, mate, and I'll see you in August. John, over to you,
Fantastic.
mate. Closer.
Well, there you go. As you've just heard from Alan and from Ian, we are a family. So if you like what you're hearing, do something about it. If you can help in any way with Ian's Chain, sorry, or go to Savfest, whatever you do, do it. Now, the last thing I'd ask is make sure you subscribe to us because this is why we do it. We do it because we get people like Alan on that's got a great message. We still have a laugh as well. So please make sure you tell all your friends about it, share it in your social media. We want to do this bigger and better and spread it further. So that's where you come in. So Scouser the Scot, over and out.
Bye.